Free testosterone, because that's the game, every 2 hours, and I'm going to show you how to do it today. I guarantee you'll know exactly what to do. And also dihydrate testosterone. So in a nutshell, when you might have okay serum, but your free T's down. You got metabolic stress, a brewing. So we got to get to the root cause. Now, if you're suboptimal, say 400 and below, it should be a bit higher than that anyway. You'll also have low free T and you will feel like shit. Now, to show you what's possible, a couple of dudes here. This legend here, 54. Let me just get another pen. Boom. 54. So when he came to me, we had to optimize his serum and we got it to 664, but his free T was suboptimal. So we had a bit more look, did some labs. We found three things that we needed to correct. A few months later, we got his free T to 18.1. He's feeling pretty good, and that's a 46% increase. Detective work. Get to the root cause. This legend up here, 4 years on testosterone replacement therapy. He wants to have kids and he just wants to be optimized. So we did the labs first to make sure we could get him off TRT, varicocele, looked at primary and secondary things like that. He was a clear bill of health. So we did a 4 week getting off the testosterone, so a 4 week pre-phase to get off. Then he went cold turkey, and as predicted, his testosterone came down, and his gonadotropins, the precursors to fertility and testosterone, were coming up a few months later. 650 serum and high free T, close to 25 there. So I'm going to show you exactly what we do to get to the root cause. Now, what are you missing out on? We'll also talk about SHBG and all the drivers that push that up because SHBG is like a magnet for your free T. It's going to rob you of feeling good. Now, guess what? This is incredible, legend. Every 2 hours, your gonadotropins, the system here in your brain, sends it into your blood, makes its way to the ball sack, FSH, sperm, fertility, LH, testosterone. So every 2 hours, you should be topping it up. Now, again, you could have okay serum, but your free T is low. You've got some issues, and it's very simple to get to the root cause. Now, here's just a short list, and we'll do more. I'll talk more about this as we progress. But, the chemicals we're exposed to, the fake estrogens and the water, your personal care products and all that shit in the food that you eat, shut you down because your body thinks it's got too much estrogen. And then down come your T, and because these chemicals also cause metabolic stress, your free T drops. If you got inflammation, we'll talk about where your inflammation should be. If you got cravings, leptin resistance. If your blood sugar's up and down like a fucking yo-yo, you got problems. If your insulin's up chronically, you're getting shut down. It's also aromatizing what little testosterone you got left into estrogen. And of course, stress, gut issues, and being a bit overweight, going to shut you down. Now, we're going to get to the root cause. Now, let's just talk about, anything that's going to bring down T also increases aromatization, including estrogen. So if your estrogen is north of, say, 45, yeah, you've got a bit more low free T because that's what's robbing you, your free T. So whether it's insulin, cortisol, stress, xenoestrogens, the fucking chemicals, the phytosterols, your blood labs are out, and estrogen itself, yeah, man. We're going to get to the root cause. Now, right here, LH every 2 hours, it makes its way to the ball sack, cholesterol into the mitochondria and the testes there. Now, what we've got to do, have to do, is get to this metabolic stress that's in your body. And we have to reduce oxidative stress. It could be a lot of different things, and we'll talk about that. Lipid peroxidization of the plasma membrane. And then we have to enhance the activity of the antioxidant enzymes. I'm going to show you how to do that today, and this is huge. And again, normalize blood glucose. None of this shit. Right, nice, steady, even blood glucose. Then we have to increase blood flow to the testes, nitric oxide, and a healthy glycocalyx. And I'm going to talk about that today. And guess what that does? That will increase testicular weight, increase the size of your ball sack, and importantly here, that's going to recycle your testosterone receptors so you're more potent. And I guess that's what you want. All right. Now, another hormone we're going to talk about here is dihydro. So we have to optimize that too. Now, dihydro doesn't do a lot when it comes to muscle building. Testosterone is king for that. But what dihydro will do is boost your libido, male characteristics, the voice, the beard, but it goes into your money maker, your brain. Makes effort feel good, increases your confidence, your motivation. It lowers that fear and anxiety and just makes you feel like the man you were born to be. So again, all you need to do is get to the root cause of this metabolic stress, and that's the secret. Unequivocally, unassailably, that is the secret. And you can rebound your free T, your free dihydro, and live like a legend. Now let's just explore one thing that screws up your blood flow and also the mitochondria, which are huge. Now you see step number 6 here? That's the mitochondria. It's all about energy. So you need healthy mitochondria to make your man juice. And we're going to talk about how to fix the mitochondria today, legend. So step number 1, every 2 hours, LH binds to the receptor, makes its way into the ball sack. You see this here? Energy pathway. So ATP from the mitochondria. So you need good energy. And we'll talk about that as we progress. Then that goes down to this protein kinase here. I'll unpack that in a moment. Now, blood flow, number 3, nitric oxide and the glycocalyx. Now, you got these two protein kinases here, and they need MK4, an isoform of vitamin K2. Now, they converge onto this star protein, the rate limiting step. And they bring your cholesterol, yeah, that's right, your cholesterol into the mitochondria, enzymatically converted into pregnenolone. That's exported out through the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, enzymatically converted into free T every 2 hours. So you should have optimal free T. Now, you see all these pathways, they're proteins and enzymes, yeah? Well, you can even have a look at your pathways genetically there. So this legend here didn't have any issues in the synthesis pathway, but he had poor conversion. Well, not too bad. It was only hetero of dihydro, but that's not an issue either. So you can boost dihydro too. So we got to protect the cells in your ball sack. So what we have to firstly do is do some labs. And I'll talk about a few of them we need to do here today. So labs, you got to do detective work. It's like walking into a dark room with a dartboard on the wall and you got a dart and you're just throwing it, just hoping you hit the bullseye. The bullseye. Not going to fucking work. So here's one, homocysteine, and also blood sugar issues. So when your homocysteine is up, it does a lot of shitty things. But number 1, mitochondria. So you can kind of see how that's an issue. But it also downregulates mitophagy. So the weak, damaged mitochondria can't be replaced with brand new V8 mitochondria, and that is coursing through your veins. So right here, homocysteine, when she's up, homocysteine, your glutathione goes down, and all the antioxidants go down. So you saw I'll just refresh your memory, right up here again. We have to increase these antioxidant enzymes. So homocysteine, she's out, you're in trouble. Now, where should homocysteine be? Well, optimal. Like this is optimal. Between 5 and at a max 8. So if you're 10 and north, you got some work to do. So not only will it destroy your fucking mitochondria, and think about that. Shit, no energy, no testosterone. Yeah. So homocysteine at high levels there, it causes lesions in your arteries. And what happens then? Well, you get plaque building up. So if that's always coursing through your veins, year after year, decade after decade, plaque in your arteries, cardiovascular disease, heart attack and stroke, dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, you're picking up on what I'm laying down, eyesight, hearing, gonads, endocrine, skeletal, and also your kidneys, which further drive into high blood pressure and heart disease. Now, the mighty mitochondria, we're going to talk about how to fix these sons of bitches, so stick with me. All about energy. So we do know that they're producing the ATP. And what they're also doing, they're a necessary step to making neurotransmitters. So think about your mood, feeling good, man. And of course, your man juice, pretty important, these mitochondria. RNA, DNA repair, and lipids. So you want the abs? Well, your body fat goes into the mitochondria through a process called beta oxidation. You burn your body fat. And also the fat that you eat. So if your trigs are up, maybe they're tapping out. Of course, protein synthesis. Now, it's not just muscle protein. Like your bones are 80% collagen. That's a protein. Your extracellular matrix, a lot of it's collagen and proteins. It's doing all of that. Your vascular system. Your vascular system is smooth muscle. That's a protein. Homeostatic balance. That sounds pretty important to me. And it communicates with cells, systems and organs like the central nervous system, cognition and mood, sports performance, reaction time, your intestines, which is huge if you want to absorb your nutrients from your food and pack on the muscle, and also your microbiome. Now, the circadian system, if it is out, they suffer. You can't clear out the old ones and make new ones. That's huge. Metabolic systems, think detox, energy, all of that. Your immune system, you don't want to get sick and have infections and shit. You want to live a very long life. Mitochondria, gene expression, epigenetic pathways, and cell fate. So if the mitochondria is sick, they're going through a process called heteroplasmy. So you have accelerated telomere attrition and cellular senescence. You age exponentially faster. So if you don't want the wrinkles, you don't want to feel old when you get to 70, you need to fix them. So nutrient sufficiency. So let's continue on the mitochondria here. So inside your mitochondria, you've got what's called the citric acid cycle, the TCA cycle. So this is a test you can do. Pretty simple test. Now what you'll pick up on here is pyruvic acid. She's low. So you're bottlenecked here. You can't produce a lot of energy. Then over here, succinyl acid, right? Right there. Let's just drive into that here. So you got your TCA cycle, and all they're doing is extracting electrons and hydrogen ions to go through electron transport chain to ultimately make your ATP, right? Now, when your succinyl is shit, it's down low, that's complex too. So it's going to bottleneck there. Now, up on top here, you see the copper's low. Well, that's complex 4 here. So you just can't make energy. So if you don't do detective work, again, it's like walking into a fucking room, got a dart, and you're trying to hit the bullseye. What's going to happen? You know, it's not going to work out too well. So here is the citric acid cycle. You can see like it's just all over the place. And all these are all over the place. Now, in about 2 weeks, you can get it back here, and it's not too difficult to work out how to do that. Now, another lab that you should definitely get checked, and this is a huge one for the mitochondria, ferritin. Ferritin is a representation of how much iron your tissues and organs are storing. And it's in a protein boat, ferritin, and it can get oxidized and damaged. And the iron that it stores is already oxidized, it's not reduced. So it can become pretty dangerous. Now, here's the crazy thing. If you get your labs checked and they check your ferritin, the system will tell you that between 330, 300, and I've even seen them up to 500, you're good. Now, optimal ferritin should be between 30 and at a max 100. So you can see how that's going to be a problem. Now, another big issue, you see this here. This is inside the mitochondria. It's called superoxide dismutase 2. Now, we've tested over 360 people now, and over 50% have a mutation in that gene. And my good friend, Dr. J, this is what he said, if you got this gene, but that goes for everybody. We still got to get it between 30 and 100. So listen carefully.
Heart disease. Yeah. So this one gene, there's really the 2 genes here, but the SOD2 gene is not a risk unless her ferritin is high. But if her ferritin is high, this gene gives her a 10-fold higher risk of heart disease, which is super high risk.
10-fold, yeah.
We want that to be 0-fold. So you got to make sure the ferritin is between 50 and 100, not just 50 to 500 or some kind of crazy nonsense.
Yeah.
Has to be optimal, not just normal in this one.
What do you do if that's the case? You donate blood. And there's dietary interventions you can do too. So it's pretty easy to fix. But another thing as well, you need manganese to bind to superoxide dismutase too. Luckily for this dude, it was optimal. But as you can see here, the copper wasn't, and the molybdenum wasn't. And I'm going to talk about why that's terrible for your blood flow. If your molybdenum is low, you will not have good blood flow. We'll talk about that later. Another lab, vitamin D. We like to see it between about 50 and 90. That's deciliters. Now in Australia, we like to see between 125 and 250. And that's optimal right there. So if you are low, you are suboptimal on everything you see here, leading to poor erections, endothelial dysfunction, poor blood flow. Then your kidneys, high blood pressure, hypertension, your pancreas. Now, your pancreas is needed to release digestive enzymes so you can digest your carbohydrates, your fats, and your proteins. Huge. And what about your immune system? Getting sick and infections and viruses and shit. And of course, your lipids, your parathyroid hormone, your ball sack, your vessels. Oh, that's huge. And another one, I see this quite frequently. So this is a representation of short-term inflammation. And the medical establishment, I don't know why, but they kind of say that if it's between 1 and 3, you're good. But that's not good. We like to see it zero point 0.5 and below. And that's, we get them mostly the people that we help. My fucking pen, hang on a sec. 0.2 and 0.3. And it's not hard to do. But when it gets north of 1, especially 3 plus, this is what shows up. You're going to have low T and low free T. Suboptimal. And so, like, you might be okay with your serum, but your free T could be low too. It's got many different patterns. It's a plethora of patterns. So heart disease, brain issues, autoimmune, arthritis, cancer, lupus, fibromyalgia, and you're fatigued as fuck. Another one, if you're lacking choline, your liver's going to suck, your SHBG is going to go up. And I've seen this over and over again, GGT. That is a representation of glutathione status. The powers that be will say 50 and below is okay. Where you want it is 15 to 25 and at a max 30. And when it's there, your liver's sludgy, so you're not detoxing your estrogens, the chemicals, the heavy metals, the mold toxins, all of that shit. So your SHBG will go up, so you might have okay serum, but your free T is going to be sub. Now, another one, fasting insulin. Now, this is a pretty big one for a multitude of different reasons. If your insulin is shit, it's a nightmare, and I'll explain why now. Now, people call it insulin resistance. It's not that. It's hyperinsulinemia. So this is chronic high insulin. So you want to check your fasting insulin, and it should be between 2 and 5. When it's north of 8, you got some work to do. When it's 15 and above, you can't detox. Cellular cleansing. So we're talking about misfolded proteins and shit in your cells that you don't want. So as you can see here, misfolded proteins, you can't engage in autophagy. So common pathogenic pathways, neurodegeneration, mental disorders. So in a nutshell, right here, no, the next page here, man. Here we go. You see your brain here? That's the misfolded proteins screwing you up. So got to make sure your fasting insulin is optimal. Now, another thing, if your fasting insulin is up, you can't engage in a lot of your longevity genes. And here's just one, and it's called NRF2. You need alpha lipoic acid to engage NRF2, optimal vitamin D, low fasting insulin, optimal NAD+. You need your circadian rhythm on point and glutathione recycling. And those tests you can do. It's really fucking simple. Now, wouldn't you want to know that? Or would you rather walk into a dark room, throwing darts at a dartboard, hoping and praying and wishing you hit the bullseye? So endoplasmic reticulum stress. Now remember, when your mitochondria convert cholesterol into pregnenolone, it's exported out into the smooth, the endoplasmic reticulum. So if that's got junk proteins in it, you're not going to make a lot of man juice. You can't engage in autophagy and mitophagy. That's the weak fucking mitochondria. Number 6 over here, brand new mitochondria when you engage in NRF2. Your anti-inflammatory gene expression goes up. Think about that, lowering inflammation. And this is a TXN antioxidant system. Huge. Protecting your DNA and all your proteins. Your proteins are everywhere. I mean, it's just so huge. Heme and iron metabolism, so we've already talked about that. Glutathione, the master antioxidant. So that's huge. NADPH, this is the rebuilder. If you don't have optimal NADPH, you can't rebuild tissues and organs. And then reactive oxygen species like superoxide and all that shit. And all of these detoxification enzymes go in the up position. And it's not going to work if you've got suboptimal vitamin D, because as you can see there, vitamin D controls it as well. And also inflammation and the proteins in the electron transport chain of your mitochondria. So as you can see there, you have to do detective work. Now, the next thing we have to have on point is gut health. Now, incidentally, legends, if you want to figure this out once and for all, two options. Book a call with me. There's information below, and we can talk about how to optimize you. Or you can download our V8 starter kits. We'll talk about the mitochondria. We'll talk about a whole bunch of things, gut issues, circadian rhythm, detox, all of that. Because if your gut is sick, you're stressed out. So there you go. Your man juice is going to be low, your free T is going to be low, and you're going to be feeling like shit. And your endocrine axis, hormones, thyroid, testosterone. And as a double whammy, your ball sack. She takes a hit. Heart disease, so your plaque in your arteries. So when you got a sick gut, why don't they talk about this instead of blaming fucking cholesterol? Anyway, thrombotic events, so thick, sludgy blood, poor blood flow. And of course, hypertension, asthma, allergies, sinusitis. Your liver, so you can't even fucking detox your estrogens, your heavy metals, terrible. Your pancreas, you can't digest your foods, your bones, the gut muscle access. So you can't even pack on the muscle. You think you're doing everything right in the gym. You think you're doing everything right, but yeah, maybe not. Skin access, wrinkles, advanced skin aging, atop, you got eczema and acne and cirrhosis, kidneys, high blood pressure, more driving into heart disease again, and your bladder. And also your thyroid, you got an eye axis, everything has an axis. So here's the glycocalyx. Now, if you have molybdenum here, that's a bad thing, and I'll talk about why in a moment. So the glycocalyx, you see this here? That's the protective shield of where the blood flows. So if it is damaged, that is what it looks like. Damaged. So think about it like this. You don't have a lot of protection and cracks open up. So what's going to happen? Heart disease. Now, molybdenum is needed so you have what's called sulfation through the transsulfuration pathway. And these glycosaminoglycans in the glycocalyx are heavily sulfated. And they turn over about every 3 hours. So if you're not sulfating because you've got low molybdenum, what do you think is going to happen to your blood flow? Detective work is what's needed. Now, the mitochondria, cold exposure, sauna, evolutionary based foods, and I'll do a video next week about that. Fasting, because that's going to lower your insulin and trigger all those longevity pathways. Circadian rhythm, fucking huge. Breath holds, that puts a stress in your mitochondria, gets rid of the old ones and in with the new ones. And the biggest lever you can pull down is HIIT cardio. Now, what's going to push up your SHBG? Iron, dysbiosis in your gut, thyroid issues, estrogen dominance or poor estrogen clearing. Think about your liver. You could have some genes in the pathway there which can be easily optimized. Low growth hormone, overtraining, and stress the fuck out. That's going to push up your SHBG. You take boron and nothing happens. So it is a bit of a shit show out there for a lot of people. So as you can see, nutrient sufficiency, and you just don't know. So you're wasting, you're pouring out money everywhere. This supplement, that supplement, you got no clue. Your molybdenum's low, your selenium's high, your mitochondria citric acid cycle isn't working, and you can identify this when you do testing. Now the circadian rhythm legends, I've done videos about this here on YouTube. It has to be on point because the longevity pathways will not trigger if Your NRF2, your sirtuins, all of them, they won't trigger your FOXOs, they won't trigger unless your circadian rhythm's on point. So you can't detox those misfolded proteins in your cells, your mitochondria, small and damaged, cellular senescence, telomere attrition, life expectancy goes down, and you miss out on the powerhouse of melatonin. So melatonin is not just a fucking sleep hormone. Neuroinflammation down, healthy cholesterol, cholinergic system, rest and digest. But you got to make sure you got plenty of choline to activate that too. Anti-anxiety. Now you probably want neurogenesis, so your brain is thriving, your earning potential goes up, your cognition is better. And right here, what we just talked about, cellular senescence, your mitochondrial dysfunction goes down, homeostatic balance of calcium, which is huge, healthy insulin, and these tau plaques, misfolded proteins and shit, it gets rid of those. So as you can see, legends, nutrient sufficiency. We've also got to have the glycocalyx for blood flow, sulfation, molybdenum, all of those things, engaging in the longevity genes. Sufficient vitamin D, choline, inflammation, vitamin D, as I said, ferritin, they all need to be dialed in. Electron transport chain, I mean, it's just huge. Like, how the fuck? I mean, honestly, think about it. How can you be optimal if this is where it is? You must do detective work. So, you want any more information about that, drop a comment below. Or two options, you can book a call with me and we can talk about how to get you back to speed very fast and efficiently, or download our V8 starter kit. Because as you can now see, you're missing out on your man juice every 2 hours. And because you got metabolic issues inside, your free T is suboptimal. So the pattern could be for you, serum looks okay, but your free T is low. Suboptimal T, but your free T is low, and you feel like garbage. So there it is. Stop the inhibition, which causes aromatization, and put your foot down the accelerators. And I haven't even talked about the accelerators. So you got to fix this first. And when you fix it, you feel better.